GSL Code A with Calderon Wolf coming up right now.
And to the bottom right, we have the Zerg player. He is ahead 1-0 against his opponent. Starting for the StarTale team, it is
StarTale Curious.
And we certainly have reason to be curious what he's going to do on this map.
Yeah, the audience actually going insane when he was announced just there. I guess he gained a lot of fans after that Spinecrawler strategy.
To the top left starts his opponent. A lot of people expect him to do very well here, expect him to advance to Code S, but he's down a game. Starting for the Prime team.
Creator Prime.
He's a great player. He's such a strong player. It's really... I think even though Creator has had his successes in the past and has his name.
Hot 6 days straight. Thank you guys, our StarCraft, and people coming down, watching.
Big shout out to Reddit and big shout out to all the people who actually come to the studio to watch the GSL here.
And
but what I was about to say, the thing is, Creator, I have the feeling that he's still a little bit underrated.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he definitely has shown great games in the past. He's innovated the matchup, Protoss versus Terran, but I mean, he hasn't really had his breakthrough performance yet, and I think you're right, he's a little bit underrated.
If you talk to pro gamers, they will always highlight Creator's performance in the GSL. They will always highlight his play. Another player that comes to mind is Tails. These are those players that we've seen around, and of course, every StarCraft fan who watches the GSL on a daily basis in the GSL will know who these guys are. But Creator in general, if you go out there and you ask someone that has heard of StarCraft, they might have heard of Marine King, they might have heard of Boxer, of all these big names. But Creator, even though he has such an amazing style, is one of those players that is a little bit lesser known.
Yeah. You know, part of the problem I feel for some of these players trying to break in Curious, you could even say the same thing about Curious as well. Almost exactly everything you just said.
Yeah.
Is because they don't have these big personalities that they make when they go to foreign events, for example. And that's another reason why a lot of Koreans like to go to foreign events, because basically if you go to a foreign event and do well, you basically become an instant celebrity overseas.
Curious is just a name that will forever be etched in my memory, because when I came to Korea, one of the first games that I casted is a game between Ganji and Curious on Antigua shipyard. It was an epic match, it blew my mind, and it was just... I loved it. That was one of the first experiences that I had at the GSL. And therefore,
and you know what's funny to me is a similar story is when I first came to GSL, the first time I ever came to the studio, I came with Moletrap, and it was Creator against MVP of the Super Tournament, and Creator almost took him out, and I was impressed by him from that very moment, and that was my first GSL experience, I guess, actually coming to Korea. So I guess that's funny that we both have this experience, and these two players are playing against each other. And this probe has actually managed to stay alive for such a long time. May finally be taken out here, but it's Zergling coming from the side. Oh! Well, the Queen will get him. Sorry, probe.
There's another thing that I want to point out. I'm well aware of the fact that Nestea, by the way, used the Spinecrawler strategy last year in GSL, but that's not really relevant at this point when we talk about Curious in the style, because in the current patch and in how the game, and after all these changes that we've seen, the European players are the only ones who actually use this strategy right now.
Yeah.
So this is definitely a bit of a difference. And
in fact, the only player I've ever seen do this besides Nestea that one time, consistently is Bly. You mentioned Bly earlier, and he is the only person I've seen try to do this a lot. And it definitely is a viable strategy. Creator with a full wall off here. And this is going to be something that's a little bit annoying for him, as he can't really send any further probes out on the map now. He's going to go 3 and 4 with his assimilators here.
It's just kind of funny that people always try to pin the credit for a certain strategy sometimes to a certain player that they memorize, and not to players that are actually using it on, I don't want to say a daily basis, but quite regularly. It's this, I don't know, you don't take anything away from another player if you mention that it's a strategy that's being used in a certain area of the world at this point right now.
Yeah, well, it's, there's always these builds that a player gets known for doing, but it's not always that person who made it first.
Don't worry, guys, we know Nestea is good.
Nestea's pretty good.
I've heard he created the universe.
I'm not a believer.
And as soon as he wakes up, we all are going to die.
I'm not a believer, man. I don't follow the Nestea religion.
No, I think in order to understand the Nestea religion to the last details, we have to talk to Dan a lot more.
Yeah, I always get these people coming to my door telling me about Nestea created the universe. They're wearing an
Sunday morning when you just came back from partying, you want to go to sleep?
I'm hungover, and this guy's come with his Dan Stemkowski mask on, and he's telling me about how Nesty created the universe and how I really need to respect him.
He has this book called the Zelnaga Watchtower.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's what he's got. He's got this book. He's trying to give it to me, and then he's asking me to pay him a 5,000 won for this book. I'm like, listen, dude, I know Nesty personally, and he's like, no, that can't be true. Well, Guardian Shield goes up here, a bit of a mistake. He's trying to warp that gateway into warp gate mode.
And we have the Infestation Pit now. At the same time, already this is once again a little bit more Ling heavy. And let's see how exactly Creator is going to play this. He's on +2. He's going for the Robo for the Observer, and he has Blink on its way. Yeah, the third base is already up for Curious. And this is a little bit scary for Creator. He had so many chances in the past, and he fell short quite often. So now he wants to once again get back into Codas. And Curious, this strategy really surprised Creator.
Yeah, I think he got a little bit taken aback by it, for sure. This Overseer is going to see everything in his main base as he's not prepared with any use. There's a desperate Stalker Warband not going to help.
You know, you think about all these games, you think about the map, you think about your opponent, you watch his performances in the past and what he has done on this map against similar opponents, against another Protoss. So you have this game plan in your mind, and you know exactly what you want to do, and you expect him to behave in a certain way. And suddenly just everything goes to hell because he designed something that throws you completely off guard. And from this point on, you're a little bit unsure of how to approach the next few maps. Of course you have strategies set up, but you're not quite sure, okay, is he really sticking to what he usually does? Or with an opening on like he did on the first map, will I face something similar again?
Yeah, and sometimes you plan on winning a certain map first, you put a lot more focus onto, for example, Game 1, then Game 2 is kind of like your flexible map. And then now it's like, well, I had a build planned, but should I use that one anymore now that I'm down a game? And I'm down a game so fast. Curious is actually, you know, kind of on a high because his plan worked and mine didn't. It can really affect your mind, and so far Creator's been doing this great. He did the full wall off at his natural, killed the rocks, he's got that ability to run over to the third base, so he's got a wall at his main, not going to have any problems with Roach run-bys or anything like this. The fast infestors coming out here for Curious may pose a problem at his third base if he doesn't get those cannons up in time, but, well, they're already started, and I think he should be okay with good force heals and good reaction times.
Right now, the supply, the army supply, and also the worker supply is ahead for Curious, but only by a small margin. Creator was able, with all the chrono boosts, to make sure that he has a very good economy. He's trying to hold the third base right now, of course, but there's a lot of army, and with all these sentries, he should be fine here. If not for perfect fungals and a good timing, Curious will have problems breaking through.
Well, he's not dropping any force shields right away. Now he is, but it's a bit late, and now he's trapped. He can't even retreat. All the sentries fading here, and with the invested Terrans, man, it looks like Curious may be able to do more than we thought.
Curious was able to force to just fungal every single sentry. He fungaled those sentries to death, and if he's able to retreat with the infestors, he would be in a good position here. The infestors, 2 of them died, but 4 are still on the run. But this was really... This was bad for Creator. He lost every single unit here, but on the other hand, Curious now with 2 additional infestors dying.
If he had not lost those infestors, it definitely would have been worth it, but I feel now we're pretty much on even footing. Yeah, a bunch of sentries went down, but so did the infestors. He has to remake 5. That's so much gas. That's 750 gas he's having to spend on these infestors. That's not going to make him happy. There goes the Spire Tech choice from Curious, and I kind of like this. He's already kind of gearing up here. He's got a good amount of upgrades on his Ling, so, you know, not as good as Creator's +3 that's coming out here, but +2 with +1 Carapace is going to be decent for these Lings.
Things evened out again after those infestors were taken out. Curious at first with a very good engagement because Creator clumped everything up in one big clump of gas. And that was taken out so fast with these fungals, but then he chases down the infestors that didn't have enough energy to stop the Stalkers from blinking. Very well done by both of them here. Small mistake, but it evened out in the end. And now we have the transition into the late game. With the Spire that you mentioned, the Hive Tech on its way, he's trying to build a few forces up here to defend against potential pushes. But the one thing that Creator really needs before he can move out is the range upgrade for his Colossi and +3, because against these Spine Crawlers that we had on screen just a few seconds ago, you need Colossi with range.
Yeah, he knows about this Observer in his main base, which is what our Observer is highlighting right now. He's about to take that out. Goodbye, Observer. But the scary thing is he doesn't have a 4th base right now. And look at the production tab. Stargate and Templar Archives, those are the two tools he will want against that Hive Tech. And with no 4th base for Curious right now, he's a little bit in trouble. He's behind in supply, and if Creator actually moves out with his Colossi with range right now, he may wait for this last Colossus to come out, his 3rd one. If he moves out with this, Curious is going to struggle to hold that 4th base.
Creator is gearing up for a late game here, definitely. He's already getting the speed upgrade for Wall Prism that we have not seen thus far, but probably will very soon. He does not stop here. He goes already for the Mothership transition. He wants to play the late game here, taking the 4th base. I'm not quite sure if we will actually have him moving out anytime soon. He seems to be really comfortable just gearing up and getting those 200 Proto supply. There's the Wall Prism on the move, and of course also his transition into the Mothership with the Fleet Beacon on its way.
And with Warp Prism speed coming out here, man, we may see some high Templar drops with Storms.
It would be great to see them again.
You know, that's something that we don't see all too often, but hold that thought. A bunch of Lings getting taken out here as he tries to go for a run by, and this is why Creator has chosen his wall like this, because he wants to play for the late game. He's going for the 4th. He's not hitting that attack that I mentioned that he might go for, because he just knows that if he gets that Fleet Beacon out, he can really bank on the Mothership. He's already ahead here, so he's just setting up all the pieces of the puzzle right now to just destroy Curious.
With what he scouted, he just realized it's a little bit too risky. He doesn't want to take that risk. He wants to play it safe, especially when you're behind one map. That is something that you will definitely try to do. Hitting timings is so important, but if you have the feeling that your time has already passed, that's over, then gearing up for the late game is the best thing that you can do. And he has a good composition here. Nice defense set up at the 3rd. This run-by is not even taking down the Archon.
He didn't even get the Archon, you're so right. And Curious losing more and more units here. The Mothership is on the way. 6 Broodlords being morphed, but Curious is kind of putting all of his eggs in one basket with this a little bit, because if he loses this army once right now, he's just gotten that 4th base. He does not have a lot of support units here. He's kind of relying on these Spine Crawlers, and I feel like if Creator had hit that timing, he might have been able to take this game. As such, though, he's already starting to take out the Greater Spire with this Warp Prism dropping the Immortal, and the Zealots will take this down. Oh, man.
That Transfuse was not enough.
And more Zealots coming in here, forcing out some fungal energy.
Yeah.
Wow.
What surprises me a little bit is that we don't have Neural Parasite for Curious. I didn't see the upgrade yet. I don't think that he has it.
He doesn't have it. He has no Neural whatsoever.
But what he has is a big problem. And this big problem is called Creator and having no Greater Spire. The Spire is just being rebuilt, and Curious now has a Broodlord count of 9. That's all that he has. Double Spire now, of course.
I like that, but I mean, that's a lot of resources too.
And the Mothership is already out.
Yeah,
well,
Creator is out. He's going to wait for that Mothership to pop. Now he can do 2 things. He can actually bring the Mothership with him, or he can do what he's doing now and take a 5th base and attack and use Mass Recall defensively against any counterattacks or against any Broodlords he faces. There is the Mothership. Oh man, things are going to get really intense here for Curious. He is going to have to bring his A game to hold off Creator's attacks one after another.
He's spine crawling like crazy. He wants to make sure that this time there's nothing happening. His bases are safe.
Overlord spots the Prism and he's going to take it out.
Yeah, it's just...
that might have been too many infested Terrans, but... Well, the Zealots, he's going to help him against those, I guess.
Yeah, and the Wall Prism is also going to die, of course.
Yes.
There it is.
2 additional Stargates and +1. We may see a carrier transition here, Keldor.
Carrier or Void Rays, one of the 2.
Yeah, actually, you know, Void Ray is more common, but recently carriers have been the choice of some pros in the late game. And Curious is still holding on. He doesn't have a 5th base yet, but with his 4th, he's holding on. He hasn't lost his Broodlords. The only thing he really lost was his Spire. And since Creator's not trying to kill him right now, he's okay. He's made a ton of spines. I mean, in total, it looks like he's probably made...
Oh, Nidus.
Yeah, Nidus coming down. I like this choice. In total, it looks like he's made over 24 spines. 25 in total, as far as I can count.
He has an Overlord to the top right of the map. Therefore, he could try to hit the 3rd. A small circling run by to the left side. And Curious is aware that his opponent tries to take another base, and Creator would be 1 base ahead of him. Here they come. The Void Rays are being built now. Wants to add some Void Rays in order to take down not only those Broodlords, but also give the Corruptor a thing or two to think about.
Yeah, and he's not really going to be able to do any harassment
with these. Thought. The Overlord to the top right started moving, and the Nidus is ready. Will he drop it immediately? Will he try to go for a run by to the left in order to distract Creator? There it is. Nidus network to the top right.
There's nothing in the Nidus network, though. Okay, now he's starting to put these infestors in here.
He doesn't see it. He does not attack with his probes. He has no idea. Creator is not aware of the minimap. The attack to the left side of the map is distracting him. Now he spots it, but it's a little bit too late. The fungal immediately, and here they come. The infestors with the infested swarm X. He can just drop as many as possible and then retreat right away, which is exactly what he does.
Yeah, even with cloaked Void Rays and Archons coming in here, it's not going to be enough to stop these Infestarans. He's not targeting the Nexus though, and actually it will hold, but this is buying Curious time. He's basically just trading energy for some of these probes. He killed a lot actually, but the probe count right now actually still at 72.
I actually don't think they killed too many.
Okay, just 11.
Total. Yeah, it was not as much as I expected either. He did not drop this many infested Terrans, to tell you the truth. But it was, as you already said, very positional. He forced his opponent back. He bought himself some time with the greater Spire that he has and the double Spire just in general. He can start the upgrades that he lacked earlier. He's now going for +1/+1 for the air units. And he's adding more Spine Curls, more Spore Curls. They are just getting ready, splitting the map basically.
Yeah, and right now Curious is making 6 more Spines. And some Spores as well to help against the Void Rays and possible carrier transition. Nice targeting on these Templar. Will he get them? Gets none. Almost one. Down to 5 hit points left there. The question is, you know, it looks like Creator has made the choice. He's not going to be using his Mothership for recall. He's going to actually go for a Vortex here. And all these units right at this moment are clumped. He could go for a Vortex and a recall and pull his units to fight, but he's not actually ready to engage. The Mothership is really exposed right now.
Could you double check for Neural Parasite? He has to have Neural Parasite.
Doesn't look like it. No, he doesn't have it.
He doesn't have anti-air.
Except for Infested Terrans and all the Spores, but...
Yeah, but I think he might have just forgotten about the upgrade.
Well, it's certainly strange he doesn't have it, man. At this late game with how much resources he's had banked at certain moments. Alright, so this time he's going to go for the recall. Trying to break through these spines, going to force the Infestors over, and as soon as they get here, he will recall. He's going to take out so many of these spines, but he's losing a lot of Void Rays here. And where's the recall?
There is none just yet.
Where is it?
Creator.
He's not doing it.
No, he's losing everything.
He loses a ton. He takes out a Nidus network that was kind of well placed by Curious, but he's throwing away units now. And yeah, he's got a lot of resources, but that was really strange. It seemed like an obvious strategy. It seems like, all right, run over. My Mothership's back at home. I'm going to recall, but he just did not do it. Super strange. I'm trying to figure out what he was focused on the map, but it just doesn't seem anything.
Supply to change his composition, but why would you lose? I don't know. This was not really worth it.
Yeah, that was a bit strange by Creator. But now he's got the Mothership with his army, and all these units are stacked. Can the Mothership approach, though? No, not with all these Infested Terrans yet.
But I don't get why he doesn't have a Null Parasite with 23 Infestors. It would be the easiest thing to do for him. And here's the Vortex, the first one. He has another one or two.
Yeah, and he has to pull back here. He can't even get any Archons into that Vortex. He only trapped a few Infestors. And this base goes down. Creator seemingly falling apart a little bit here.
Nah, he's maxing up again. He had still a lot of free supply, and he needs to wait for those warping rounds before he can actually engage. He had to sack the base. He could not really attack yet. He did not have enough units, and he still doesn't. He has the resources, but he has to wait for the cooldown.
Yeah, and he has to be a little bit more positional here. Curious with, I'm looking at his Spores right now. He's got 8 on the right side of the map. He's got a few more scattered around, about 10 in total, but Creator really needs a key Vortex here. He has banked this game on his Mothership play, and if he doesn't use it perfectly, then he's going to lose. I mean, this is what happens. This is how this late game is played. Yeah, you can add a few Void Rays in if you want, man, but with this many Spore Crawlers and Infestors, he's going to need that Mothership.
He does not have the energy, though.
Yeah.
There is no energy left for a Vortex, and this is going to be very critical. If Curious tries to attack now, then he would have to fight without a Vortex.
+2 shields on the way for Creator, continuing that upgrading. His Mothership is on 1/1/1 right now, including the plasma shields. I'm a little bit concerned for Creator here. Even though Curious has been playing fairly low economy, he's got the base up at the left, he's taken the base at the right. He had to cancel it once against those Blink Stalkers, but it's coming up, and eventually Curious will just push across the map with more and more Spines, with more Broodlords. He's got 15 of them out right now, 23 Infestors.
By now he added a few Corruptors too, but still no Neural Parasite. He really wants to play without the upgrade. There is no way that he forgot about it. It's a conscious decision, because he must have realized in the last fight that he does not have the upgrade. If he would have wanted to Neural, He would have realized it. He didn't start it, so it's a conscious decision by him not to go for this. He wants to finish it with Fungals and with the infested Terrans. That's the one thing that he's going to rely on. Might be a mistake here. We'll find out. It all depends on the idea of Creator creating this Archantolid. If he pulls off a good Archantolid against these Zerg units, then he might be able to just take down 50 up to a 60, 70 supply in an instant, but it's not going to be easy. Curious is looking very strong here at 150 army supply against 130.
And his composition is so good. With all these Broodlords plus the Infestors he's got to support, as long as a good Vortex doesn't go off, man, and even if a good Vortex does go off with all the Spinecrawlers here to support, it's not going to be a good trade for Creator. Now, I like that Creator has retaken that base over on the left side. He's made a ton of photon cannons there. It's going to slow down any sort of attack that he faces, especially with the Nidus network that's over there.
And this is what Protoss players are afraid of. This late game composition of Zerg. As soon as they have the Brood Lords, Protoss feel really uncomfortable. And especially when a Zerg player has the patience to just slowly spread the creep to the front and use those Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers. This is what every Protoss player is afraid of, and for good reason.
Here we go. Storm's going down over here. He dodges them, and the Mothership, it has enough. We do see the Graviton Catapult is being researched. He may decide to make carriers, but in StarCraft 2, carriers do not serve as well of a siege unit against these types of structures as they did in StarCraft 1. You can't micro them quite like you can, and trying to use carriers to break this Spine Crawler or Spore Crawler line is not going to quite work. Alright, he's looking like he may want to actually just get everything together here and go for that Vortex, but Curious isn't giving him any opportunity. He pulls back behind the Spores. It's not going to be easy. He's not going to be able to get a Vortex off unless Curious makes a mistake, I really feel here.
Creator so far did not really play an efficient game with his units. He lost so many more resources than his opponent. We have 13,000 resources lost against 21,000 lost in favor of Curious.
The insane story here to me is that Curious is able to get this Hive Tech up off 3 bases, then take a 4th so late. And I mean, he's just been able to make this work so cost efficiently this whole game. Dark Templar leading the charge here. Some Void Rays and Stalkers may force Curious to reposition. He's actually going for the base over here.
Curious is moving in, and here comes Creator trying to engage, forces opponent back. This base is going to die. He was low on minerals, and Creator certainly has the bank. The Protoss player is also playing this very patient. He's not afraid to lose a base or two. As long as he has this huge bank, he wants to make sure that he has the perfect position to actually attack his opponent, to win the fight. This is going to be so close and so tense. It all comes down to the last fight at the last minute.
I have never been more impressed with the Zerg in this matchup than I am at this moment, man. I am actually so happy to see how he engages here. And the Vortex catches some of the Infestors, but not enough, and not the Broodlords.
That was not well done by Creator, and his Mothership was caught out of position, and then he double Vortexes. One would have been enough. The Mothership is dead. He needs to get another one. The Vortex, did he do any damage? Are there any Archons in there? No. Only, oh my god, he gets fungal immediately. Those Broodlords are in the sweet spot. They take down so much stuff. The Colossi are gonna die, and a lot of these Stalkers are in trouble. Creator blinking back, but he's on the back foot now.
He is. He doesn't have a lot of economy. He's out of gas. He's really hurting for that right now with 4 carriers being made at a time. He is losing so much of the limited gas he has. 2,600 minerals. What's he going to do with that?
16 Infestors being built now for Curious. This will put him to 35 Infestors.
Yeah, man.
He's pulling a Freaky.
He's been talking to Freaky, maybe. He's definitely been working with Life a little bit on this match, and I don't know what's going on. Zealot's trying to run by these Spine Crawlers, but there's, well, 4 more Spine Crawlers going up over here, and look at these Fungals. Zealot run by is not going to be useful. What does Creator use his minerals for now? Maybe he needs a Warp Prism. He needs a Warp Prism if he's going to try to do stuff like this.
He needs a miracle. He doesn't have anything anymore. He has no Mothership. He has, well, 3
carriers, 3 Void Rays, and he's got a few more.
I'm looking at this unit composition that he has, and what are you doing with this? You rely way too heavily on those Stalkers to blink in and take down 15 Broodlords.
Well, he's out of luck here, man. He's, like you said, he's going to need a miracle to win this game. He's long distance mining from gas at the top right. Curious is going to shut down any potential remake of a Nexus with his creep spread, and Creator is just getting outplayed here. The Spine Crawlers are making their slow push across the map. It's almost like a migration journey that you would see on National Geographic. That's what it's starting to look like here.
Curious, though, has not the biggest bank. This is a problem that he has with all the Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers that he built. He's very, very safe, but he just does not have enough resources to immediately max out again in case he loses his army. And Creator is now getting the Mothership. Curious is very reluctant to attack. It warped in at the bottom right now at the expansion, but with all the spine crawlers that he has, there is no problem at all for Curious to defend this. He's playing so super safe and it's super annoying. The Protoss player is looking for an opening, but there is no.
Yeah, he's just trying to spend the bank on minerals to actually attack the Zealots, and I like this, but there's so many spines here.
He's confusing.
He will actually maybe break through this, but no, the Infestors come back. And he's going to actually shut this down. A feedback goes off, but, well, one feedback is not something Curious is worried about. He's played this game more cost-efficient than I think I've seen any of the Zerg play. He was so mineral low, so economy low with everything he did. Every choice that he made was just like playing with a chessboard, man. He's forcing Creator one way or another, and he has looked so good this game. Creator, yeah, he's maxed out, but he looks so desperate. There's nothing he's able to accomplish here.
Neural Parasite for Curious, finally. I've been waiting for this upgrade for a long time now, and with the Infestor count that he has, it is of course inevitable. 36 Infestors. With those, he can neural the Mothership, he can neural the Carriers, he can even neural the Void Rays in the Colossus if he wants to. For all I know, he could start to actually neural the Stalkers. He would have every single Stalker of his opponent. Won't happen, of course, but would be funny.
It would be funny indeed. And, well, Storm's going down to try to put an end to this attack, but there's just too much firepower here. Creator is going to finally go against these Spine Crawlers, and I don't think it's going to be enough. He's got a little bit of extra firepower with the Stalkers and the Void Ray in here. Where are the Carriers? They're hanging out at the top right of the map. They're not useful here.
The Carriers are chilling, and now Creator on the way to the bottom right. He tries to take down another base. He has a lot of DPS here, but Curious already killed one of his bases, is now on the move, and he needs to go for a recall. These units will not be able to escape.
No, definitely not.
The base is gone though. The base died.
He's barely got enough money, enough energy for that recall. And yeah, the base is dead, and the economy of Curious is dead with it, but he has a lot of minerals banked, and he's still got the army. Oh, and since he split these units, he can't use the recall. It's as if he forgot this upgrade exists. Is he not going to save them?
I don't think he will. They are backed into a corner.
He needs to save them.
Here come the Broodlords. Finally, the Carriers arrive at the scene of the crime, but now, where are those neural parasites? If he uses them now, that would be bad news for Creator. Curious against this army. 126 supply against 156 as the Zerg player retreats a little bit, tries to get into a better position.
Only 5 Corruptors out right now. He has to rely on his Infested Terran energy. He has a lot of Infestors out, 21 of them in total, but with the Colossi here, he cannot waste them. And Creator does kind of, he gets some movement here. He's actually finally able to force Curious moving around the map a little bit.
Curious is 30 army supply ahead, and he certainly has the minerals, but he needs a good engagement here. He needs to make use of fungal, neural, and infested terrans to make this happen. Only a few Corruptors, as Wolf stated, only 5 of them now.
He's got to be careful. I don't think that Creator should try to engage into these spores right now. He can't fight that. I mean, he's going to lose too many interceptors. He doesn't have the even minerals anymore.
To the top left, we suddenly have all those Broodlords, and Curious is in a very interesting position now, because he's between his opponent's army and the main base of the Protoss player. So Creator has to make a decision. Either he starts to attack the main base of Curious to the bottom right, or he tries to defend his own. This is not going to be easy. Those Broodlords are doing a lot of damage, but in the middle of the map, we still have the entire army for the Zerg for the Startail Zerg.
Yeah, you're right. He's kind of in an awkward spot here, because even if he sends the Void Rays back, they may get caught. And he's only got 2 of them. He's got no Flux Veins, so, I mean, I don't know about that. And also, something else to consider is, yeah, Creator's losing these gateways, but that's something he'll probably never use for the rest of this game anyway, so he's not really focused on that, and I can respect that. He's not going to make any more units. He's never going to have any more money anymore, and Curious, this is the smartest choice I think he's made in the last 2 to 3 minutes, is he's taken this base over at the top left. And not only, so basically he's taken apart his opponent's structures and expanding towards it. He needs that money, and he's going to have it.
And he's sitting tight in the middle of the map where all the Spine and Spore Crawlers currently are. He's building 11 additional Spine Crawlers, Spore Crawlers, because at this point he knows exactly that with all the minerals he can't do anything. He needs gas. So he has 2,000 minerals. Let's build some Spore Crawlers.
Yeah, and Creator is trying to find an opening, but the longer he waits, the better off his opponent's going to be. He's got mining now at that base over there. And he can't engage into the position here. A fungal goes off.
The one thing that Curious is not going to lose is his patience. The entire game he played a very, very cautious and patient game, and he is not going to attack anywhere else than within the spine crawler range. And this is exactly where Creator doesn't want to be. He's in a very awkward position here.
He is awkward here, man. He doesn't look like he knows what to do. And frankly, I don't know what to do either if I were in Creator's position. You can't fight the Spine Crawlers and Spore Crawlers. You can't stop the Broodlords from killing your Nexus. You can't kill the base at the top left. In fact, I don't even think he knows about that base. He has no idea. He's just killing creep tumors right now.
The strategical position for Curious is brilliant. He's in a brilliant spot, even using a few of his infestors to take down the long-distance mining probes here. And also attacks the base to the top right, saves the infestor, and this will whittle Creator's bases down. He will lose those buildings, and does he attack into the Spine Crawlers?
Creator loses his patience first, man. I think he's thinking about it. He lost a few of those interceptors. That's something he cannot afford to lose. He's only got 47 of them out right now, and he cannot remake them. He has no mining whatsoever. He lost all those probes that you mentioned earlier.
And we have still 21 infestors. Now he tries to circumvent maybe the Spine Crawlers, but it's a jungle. That's a jungle, and he can get out of it.
No, he can't fight here. He's going to trade some... See, he throws away some interceptors. That's not going to work, and all the infestors are ready. And now the Void Ray getting too close. He gets bungled. Trying to get a Storm off. Storm doesn't work on Spore Crawlers, though, Creator. What are you going to do here?
Creator is really in such a bad position. There's not a lot he can do with that. There's basically nothing. This is just such an... this is so annoying for him.
Yeah, there's nothing he can do.
And still, those Broodlords, they're working at the buildings of Creator, and slowly and steadily, he doesn't have a lot of buildings left.
Yeah, he's on a clock here. He doesn't have any probes out to make any pylons. He doesn't have any minerals to make anything. The only structure he could make would be an assimilator.
He can't even build interceptors, as he said.
He actually is. He cannot have a single additional structure. The reason is he has one Nexus left. He can make one probe. He actually lost all of his probes, and, well, he's starting to lose all of his interceptors here as well.
Is there Neural? No, that's the Vortex.
But it doesn't matter.
The second one, and this time he hits a lot of them infestors, but it does not look like it's going to be enough. Here come the Corruptors trying to force the Void Rays back. The rest of the infestors immediately starting with the infested Terrans, and the Vortex will be over in just a few seconds. There's the army. And 44 supply for Creator. Curious is going to take him out with 2-0.
The end is nigh.
He stopped playing. GG. Curious advances to Codas. He wins the series with 2-0. A very interesting strategy in game number 1. On Cloud Kingdom, he starts with the Spine Crawler Rush, and now on Ohana, he is going for the late game, and Creator was, I don't know. I have no idea what he could have done. As soon as Curious had this position with all the Spine and Spore Crawlers and his late game army, it was way too hard for him to take the game.
Yeah, Creator, I think, he really could have gone with his advantage earlier and tried to attack and push Curious back, but Curious, man, off of 3 bases, going for Hive Tech, then slowly taking a 4th, and just playing with these 4 bases while Creator had a 5th, just never overextending himself, never trying to attack that Protoss army, just slowly but steadily adding Spine Crawlers with his mineral bank. I was so impressed with Curious's play this game. I can't even express myself.
How often do we see a Zerg player die with 2,000 or 3,000 minerals on the bank because he doesn't have the gas? And he has so many resources, but what do you build with this? Zerglings, they certainly can't help you. But you can build Spine Crawlers, you can build Spore Crawlers. Yeah. This is exactly what he did the entire time. Well, I don't have gas? Okay, let's build a few more Spine and Spore Crawlers because they will help me. They will make sure that the Protoss player cannot attack into me. And then I slowly but steadily push the creep forward, make sure that my opponent is under pressure. Don't lose the patience and just let him attack into you.
Yeah, that's certainly what he did, man. He just, like you said, he never lost that patience. Oh. We are going to have a 5-minute break, guys. When we get back, we have Yoda up against Supernova in a Terran versus Terran, so look forward to that. We'll see you in 5.
무슈제의 GSL 부산 결승 트로피의 주인공을 만나러 갑니다. 부산에서 만나요. 남자의 시작 무슈제이한 GSL.